You're at a point in your life, though, where the said outstanding individual who has every single quarterback record you could potentially want is at a crossroads almost. You're at a point for the first time in your career, I think, where everybody is wondering what the hell Drew Brees is going to do. And my question is this. The last time you and I were in this city together, okay? The last time you and I were in this city together, it ended with me walking off of the field, okay? There's confetti flying. And I walked into the most miserable locker room I've ever been in my entire life. And the last image I have before walking into the most miserable locker room I've ever been was you up on the Jumbotron with your baby, okay? Celebrating, and I might have called your baby dumb before. It's not a dumb baby, very smart baby. You and your baby up there celebrating a Super Bowl victory. Now, is that what you're still playing for? Is that moment right there? Is that what the contemplation is? Is I want to relive that moment with my kids? Is that what you're still playing for? Is I want another Super Bowl moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the thought of whether or not you're going to play is going to come down to what?
Well, I feel like there's a process, right? It's not like you just wake up one day and say, I'm going to retire, you know,
Yeah.
Especially when you play this long. Listen, I have such a love and a respect for the game. And for the longest time, you just imagine yourself playing forever.
Yep.
Right? And I kind of did this math in my head recently where, I just turned 41 years old, but I've played organized football for 30 years, right? So 3/4 of my life has been devoted to being the best that I could be at football. And that structure in your life that football gives you, right?
Yep.
And every decision that you make in your life is based upon you as a football player. Like what you're going to eat, right?
Yep.
What you're putting in your body, your sleep habits, your training, your recovery, I can't do that because,
Yep.
it's all about being the best football player that you can be. And so, listen, that's a huge responsibility. Right?
And commitment.
And then it's also scary to think, man, if I walk away from that, well, where's the structure now?
Yeah.
Listen, now there's no doubt. I got a plan for life after football, right? I feel like my next chapter is going to be even better than this previous chapter.
I agree.
Right?
Smoothie King, Jimmy John's, I believe. You have a lot of other business interests.
Exactly. And so many other passions and hobbies and things I want to pursue, and time with my family and coaching my kids and watching them grow up and being an even bigger part of their life, because obviously football pulls us away a lot, right? So, but I also understand the opportunity, right, that I've been given. I'm so grateful to have been able to play 19 years thus far in the NFL.
Hell yeah.
So, there's just a process, There's just a process, and over the last 3 years especially, I've truly taken the approach, like, man, I'm just playing it 1 year at a time, and I'm not going to take anything for granted. I am going to enjoy it a little bit more.
Yep.
I'm going to
walkthroughs, everything.
The locker room, the flights home after a big road win. I'm going to enjoy it more than I ever have. And you know what? I have. I've had more fun playing football the last 3 years than I ever have.
Well, hello there. Utilize the promo code PAYTHEBILLS and get $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. Now, back to the magic. The last 3 years, though, devastating endings to the season. Devastating. By the way, each and every single year, and I think this is the impressive thing about you, and I got a chance to play with Peyton, who at his peak years was an older age, right? And I heard you do an interview where you said, as you get older, your body is kind of getting slower down, but your mind is getting better. So you're doing everything you possibly can to keep your body as good as possible because your mind is at this peak level.
Yeah.
And you have played at this incredibly high level for so long, even in the last couple of years, whenever everybody would think maybe you'd tail off a little bit. You have not at all. Now, will the devastating endings to the season, is that a part of the decision-making on whether or not you go one more year? Is that something that you have to think about? Like, for instance, you go to overtime with the Vikings, and everybody says maybe a push-off, maybe not a push-off. But then you got the damn Minneapolis Miracle, then the phantom pass interference. Are these the things that maybe a bad taste in your mouth is left at the end of the season? You're like, I still got it in me. I still got to go another one. Is that something that gets into the fray of the thought?
Yeah, I think that's. Listen, we all want to win it and ride off into the sunset, right?
Amen. I think you can too, by the way.
Yeah. So that's the ideal scenario, right? And forget that. Listen, there's always something to prove. Like, I can sit up here each and every year and tell you, man, I still got something to prove. I'm still going to play. I can make that justification every year, and in that case, I play till I'm 65. But like at some point, there's a lot more that goes into it, and really, when I walk away from this game, it's not going to, I don't want it to be because I can't play anymore. I don't want it to be because there's 32
wheels
teams
fell
saying,
off.
it's time to go, you know? I want it to be on my own terms, and I want it to be because, you know what? I've given everything I could to this game while I had the chance. I'm so grateful for those moments and those relationships and everything that came as a result of football. But now it's time for the next chapter. It's time for me to spend more time with my family.
I don't want to talk about your retirement too much, but that is the big story surrounding you because you're one of the league's greatest players of all time. So that's going to be something that's talked about. I'd like to celebrate the career that you've had.